Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. You'll see I'm halfway through a Commander League here. And I've got 3 games. I'm going to go through these 3 matches right here for you. Definitely very fun. And I'll pull up the deck list at the end and we'll talk about it a little bit. I don't want this video to go too long today. Don't forget, if you're watching the playback of it, you can click the gear icon. It works on mobile now also. And you can speed me up to like 1.25 times speed. A little bit nicer, and still very easy to understand. I do it on almost every video that I watch. Alright, let's jump into the game. Let's not click play league match. So we start out with a loss. Still getting our legs with this deck some. Close that. I win the dice roll. Do I win this? I think I win this dice roll. As long as the game doesn't bug. Alright, so we're playing Edgar Markov. The $40 online card that has just been going up and up. Very nice. Playing against Narset. Tough matchup. So I see this hand, and I think I shipped this one back because I don't have any early action. I do have removal, so I might have... Maybe I should have kept this if I remember correctly. I do ship, I believe. Do I keep? Maybe I do keep. Yeah, I think I'm thinking of another Narset game that I played in the lobby that was similar to this. Not a league game. And it didn't go well for me, so that's why I think I kept this. So I have tap, land, go. I'm not going to turn on any Ancient Tombs for him to not take damage. I'd rather get that out of the way soon. I believe I go. I don't want to show this and expose a Wasteland, so I won't play it yet. And no turn 1 or 2 for Edgar is pretty bad playing this back. And I think this hand should have definitely been a mulligan. I don't need 4 mana in my opening hand. Ideally, I want 3 mana and a 1 and 2/2 drops is my goal. Mindstone, alright, well that's a good Vindicate target. But a better Vindicate target is his blue-red land. And I probably should have pinched white because white's the Wrath color in this deck. But I decide to play some threats first because I need to get a clock going. The chance of him having Wrath on his next turn is low. So I just need to get this Vindicate going. He taps for Azorius Signet. There's also reason that I should have Vindicated here on my previous turn because he was tapped out. He only had Mind Stone. So I know that Vindicate is almost guaranteed to resolve short of Daze or Force. Because he wouldn't pack the 3 mana anyway. So it's probable that I should have cast Vindicate then because I have Cavern to power out Stromkirk Captain. So this missequencing is going to bite me here, I believe. So I tap for Vindicate. Oh no, he doesn't counter that. Okay. Get in, and I'll cast out the Cutthroat. And the reason I'm casting Cutthroat is because I have Shared Animosity. I just want to go as wide as possible. Cutthroat represents +3 to my team if I can get a full attack. So there'll be 12 additional damage with Shared Animosity in play. He goes with Cavern, names his human. I get Bloodseeker. All right, cool. So I'm going to, believe I bait with Bloodseeker. No, all right. I play Shared Animosity, and it's probable that I should have baited with Bloodseeker and then swung and not gone for Shared Animosity yet, hoping that he's going to tap out for Narset and then drop Shared Animosity. That probably would have been a better line. And I believe he has, unfortunately, Cryptic Command. Or no, he has Mystic Confluence. So he's got me by the balls here. He counters Shared Animosity because I can't pay 3. He bounces my Stromkirk Captain, and he gets to draw a card and recycle Mystic Confluence. So absolutely brutal. If I had gone with the line of cast Bloodseeker, he would have had to use double counter plus bounce, and he wouldn't get a card out of it. Furthermore, I would be able to replay Stromkirk Captain post-combat if I chose to let Bloodseeker get countered. And that would have been a much better line for me. So I didn't respect the 5 mana, and I eat it. That said, I could probably bait with Bloodseeker by tapping Cavern with using Urborg instead of Cavern itself, if I wanted to take that sort of line. But this is my only red source. It's sort of a psychic play. I can't know that he's got exactly Mystic Confluence. So I think it's still the correct line on the situation that I had. Because I'm telling him, have the answer or you will most likely lose the game in 2 turns. And that's exactly what Shared Animosity is asking. So I'm going to put Bloodseeker down just to try to increase this clock. Because now Stromkirk Captain is at least +1 to my team when I cast it uncounterably. My opponent drops in Narset. Fine by me. So it's a 3/2 first strike. He loses life to Bloodseeker. and then I pick up Chain Lightning. It's basically a lightning bolt at my opponent's face. So I will, of course, play Stormcroak Captain uncounterably. No, I'm going to play Edgar Markov here uncounterably. So Edgar and Stormcroak both represent +1 to my team. Now Stormcroak gives them all first strike, so that means Narset can't profitably block, so I'd be getting in more damage. Edgar, though, is a 5-power attacker in the air. Furthermore, if he wraths the board, like if he hits Wrath off Narset, because I have no way to deal with Narset right now, I'd rather not lose Stormcroak Captain from my hand because it represents 4 power when I cast it with Edgar in command zone or on battlefield. So I'm going to be mana efficient this turn and play Edgar instead of Stormcroak Captain. Even though I guess Stormcroak Captain actually represents more damage because I can go Captain plus Chain Lightning his face. Pump the team. He won't block, so I'll get 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13. And this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 13. So yeah, I'm short 1 damage here than the optimal play. It would also give me Hasty Edgar next turn if he does Wrath, so maybe that would have been the better play to cast both of these. So he blocks the Bloodseeker. Doesn't matter. I'm just trying to get in for damage right here. I know that if he can't deal with Edgar, I'm in good shape. So what does he get off this? He gets Time Walk and Talisman. And this is where he really starts to go wide. So he plays Talismans, Time Walks, and gets Tezzeret into Sword of Fire and Ice. And I don't really get a turn for a series. I'm going to jump through real quick. He gets Vision Probe, so he gets to draw 4. He's going to Time Walk again. There's a Time Walk, or Time Warp. Then he cycles Sweltering Suns, which I disagree with. You should have cast it. You have pro-red. It clears out my blockers, because if I get a turn at some point, you're dead. You need to clear these blockers, and then needs 1 removal spell for Edgar. This was absolutely incorrect, unless he did not have a Time Walk. And even then, I think it's probably in his better interest to just try to clear my board. Now, he doesn't know about Chain Lightning. If Edgar gets in, I can Chain Lightning him to death, and that's the game. So I guess there's reason to try to hit the Time Walk. He might have been very close to actually losing. He gets another Time Walk, so he's going to keep taking turns. I get a 13. I don't lose yet to these Time Walks because he doesn't have me at commander damage. He goes in. He gets Unexpectedly Absent, Council's Judgment. So he's going to choose Edgar. I lose Edgar. And then he lootings into Pyroclasm, I want to say. Yep, there goes my board, and I scoop. Unfortunate. Oh my god, I hate when I do that. Alright, on to match 2 against MTG Tom Sun Dlo F Dloff MTG. Alright, you got it, Tom. So I win another dice roll. Got good luck with dice rolls in this league so far. Knock on wood. So my opponent is playing ThrasiosKraum, and this is an awesome match. So I keep this hand. It's a 1-lander Chromox. So Chromox, I can either choose to imprint Bolt, or I can imprint a black card. And right now, I'm thinking I'm going to go with black card. So I'm going to fetch and Thoughtseize. So I see Daze, Force Spike, Pyroclasm, Regrowth. So I could take Regrowth. Not bad. I could take Force Spike or Daze. He currently doesn't have an island. So I take Pyroclasm here. It's his strongest card against me. Even though he has the Regrowth to get it back, that means his Pyroclasm will cost 4 mana instead of 2 mana, or 4 mana over 2 turns, and I'm fine with that. I might be able to find more discard before he can actually find a spot to deploy Pyroclasm. My opponent plays Volcanic Island, so we know his entire hand still, which is awesome. He's, of course, playing that because that turns on Force Spike and Daze in a single turn, so he can miscalculation me if he wants to spend 2 cards and reset his land. I don't think he wants to. So I'm going to shock myself. Unfortunately, this wasn't a white land, and it hurts that I didn't get white-black off of this now because I don't have a white source yet. I'm going to Chromox, and I choose to imprint Lightning Bolt here because Lightning Bolt kills only Thrasios, Dismember kills both of them, and Dismember isn't color dependent. Fatal Push, on the other hand, doesn't care about toughness. So Fatal Push can kill Kraum, which is why I choose to have it over having Bolt in my hand. And the reason I do this is because I want to play around Force Spike when I play Child of Night out. So I get my Vampire from the Eminence trigger. Here goes his Confluence, and Thrasios down. Alright. So I Pump Fake on his end step. And then I'm like, do I want to make him bounce a land to counter Fatal Push? And then untap and dismember, and I'd spend 2 for Daze Thrasios, and I decide that's not what I want to do. Even though it sets him back a land, I decide that I want to make sure Thrasios actually dies, because I only have few removal. Now, I would have been able to deploy my entire hand this turn if I had done it that way, because I'd be able to Fatal Push, he dazes, keeps Thrasios alive. I untap, dismember Thrasios. He's at 1 land, Vulcan hand, Thrasios dead, and I play Gifted Aetherborn, and I start going wide, but it's such a risky line knowing that Pyroclasm is incoming in a couple turns. Because he'd only be 2 turns away from Pyroclasm. Replay this, regrowth, and the following turn Pyro me. So I decide with a safer line, I'm going to keep Dismember up still. So I can still Dismember around Force Spike. He plays Shivan Reef this turn. There we go. And we keep it out. Boom! Oh my god, so good. So if I had taken that line, I would have 3 mana here to Inquisition him, which would have felt pretty good. So I would play around both Daze and Force Spike, both of which he can hardcast, so I could play a 3 mana Inquisition to get this regrowth out of his hand, because he didn't cast it. So it feels pretty good. Alright, I don't know why I was paused in my draw step. Alright. I go in, see if he's going to spend mana in my combat step. He doesn't. Main 2, I'm going to Inquisition, and he's got Mana Leak, one of the 2 cards that I don't know about. So that hurts, but at least I get Mana Leak out of his hand, because that would counter Dismember, for sure. So, alright, well, at least that's gone. But now he has 4 mana. Ooh, no he doesn't. Raging Ravine. I was going to say Ravaging. Raging Ravine, so he can't regrowth plus Pyro this turn. So I get 1 more turn of attacks in, which is pretty sweet. So he regrowths this turn, which I think is correct. He could still Force Spike Daze. And him being able to Force Spike Daze is probably still correct. And if he does Force Spike and Daze me, he can still Pyro or cast Thrasios next turn. Not both. If you do one of the other. I get Urborg, so I'm really wishing I had a white source here, but that's the beats. Like if I got white-black instead of white-red. I probably didn't need white-red, but I was intending to be able to cast Bolt, and I wasn't planning on imprinting it on the first turn, and then it went in a different direction. So hurts, but oh well. I play Urborg and I pass here. Because he's representing multiple pieces of counter magic, I want to be able to have as much up as possible. So he plays Thrasios. Furthermore, I know about Pyroclasm in the hand. Don't need that. So if I play this, I'm trading my token and the rest of my board for Pyro. I'm just incentivizing it too much. So I believe I Dismember on his end step. Let's see. I do not. Alright, I get Canyon Slough. And I really don't need more red mana. So I believe I cycle this. Fine, we'll just hit play. So this turn, I'm going to, I believe, Dismember Thrasios. And then cycle Canyon Slough, hoping to hit white mana. Because I'm 2 mana away from getting Edgar online. And if I can get 1 or 2 attacks in with Edgar before he blows the Pyroclasm, I'm in great shape. Furthermore, I'm continuing to gain life off this Child of Night. And I hit white mana, Sacred Foundry. Awesome. So I could play it untapped. So what I could have done here is play Sacred Foundry untapped and cast Gifted Aetherborn and have get a token. He Pyroclasms away the token, and I'd have Gifted Aetherborn to attack this turn. I decide that I want the token more. And sure, I am rewarded by getting Skull Clamp. What a draw. So this way I can play Gifted Aetherborn, Skull Clamp, and Clamp token if he doesn't have counter magic. We know about Daze and Force Spike, so he might have to Force Spike me just to prevent me from getting the equip. So to go with Skull Clamp first to sort of... So the reason I do this is because I want to fade that I don't have a creature. He can't counter the Eminence ability, so when I cast Gifted Aetherborn, even if he counters, no matter what, I get the 1/1. If I did this in the reverse order, he'd be more incentivized to just burn the counter magics on Skull Clamp to make sure that I can't clamp this turn. So, Gifted Aetherborn, he tries to miscalc. And I decide to let that go because I feel like the draw 2 is worth more than having the 2/3 in play. So I get land and shared animosity. I was hoping to get a vampire that I could cast, but unfortunately I don't. Council's Judgment, not a vampire either. So I'm going to resolve shared animosity here. And he's going to claim away my Clamp. Alright, fine by me. Clamp drew me 2 cards. And then he slams Blood Moon into play. Blood Moon! Alright, so he's miscalced. He has Daze, Force Spike in hand. Both of them are now turned off. So he just mind rotted himself. I have all red mana, but my deck's aggro. His deck seems like a control deck. I don't think Blood Moon is where he wants to be in this game. Now, if I can Council's Judgment away, but I actually like him being trapped under here. All of his fetches are turned off. He's playing a 3-color greedy mana base. His fetches are red. There's a good chance he might not draw basics for the entire game. So I'm just going to ship the turn. I think he gets a land drop, but it's a fetch land, so he gets nothing this turn. I drop like a swamp and get Gildraz's Assassin, and he cycles a Slice and Dice. Alright, so he had another answer to my tokens. Fine by me. I'm just going to keep getting this value. I get Indulgent Aristocrat, and that means I can pump it by sacrificing this vampire if he has a 1 damage spell. And then this turn I get Shadow Alley Denizen, even better. So now I can double pump my team if I want to. I decided to pump once and hit him for 6 damage. Like, that clock shows up out of nowhere, and I don't think he was ready. He overloads a Mortars. I sack, and then I realize I'm not going to be able to get to 5 power, so I just let it go. Get a Chain Lightning. I decided to save it. All of my mana casted anyway. He might get something like a Planeswalker that I care about. I got another land. I'm 1 white mana off casting Edgar, which would be fantastic when he can't have counter magic. He gets Chandra. Ugh, not the Planeswalker I wanted to see. He goes up, so I'm going to Chain Lightning him on my turn. Hope that he copies it, and then I can send it back at Chandra. But he doesn't. I get Grim Tutor, which I'm 1 land away from casting. He gets an Excavator that he cannot cast. So he's going to shock me. I get Viserys here, which is pretty sweet. It's 2 more vampires for shared animosity, so they're both 2 power attackers here. And because I shot Chandra down, Chandra can't -3 and kill my creature without sacrificing herself, which is really notable here. So he has to go up, shock me again. And you'll notice I'm still at 30 life because this Child of Night was attacking so much. He has no clock on me at all. He does get the island to be able to cast Crown, which hurts, but I'm okay with it. I find a swamp. Oh, what an amazing top deck. So I'm going to Grim Tutor first, and I'm going to go get Plains. Probably one of the only times you see people Grim Tutoring for a basic land, and a Plains at that, not even like an island or a swamp. But this just turns on, I need the Plains to turn on my deck, and I only have 2 of them in the deck. He doesn't have counter magic, which is awesome. He could have tried to daze me, but at this point it doesn't matter. So he blocks Viserys here, and I'm going to use the Scry. I do this mostly because I don't want Chandra to be able to minus and kill a creature. 4 damage is a lot, so I'm going to sack Viserys here to get the Scry and knock Chandra down by 2. And I'll Scry that Plains to the top as well, because that'll turn on Council's Judgment for me. I don't really want to have to cast it, because it'll let him get rid of his own Blood Moon. I'll vote for something, he'll vote for Blood Moon, and then they'll both go away, but it'll unlock all of his colored mana. And I don't want that to happen. Right now, I'm winning because he is pinched on mana. He has so many cards, but he's pinched on color, and that is why that is my only chance at winning this game. So this is like a last resort type thing, but I do want to be able to have Plains to be able to cast it. He Factor Fictions, and I give him a 1/4 split. Nissa, Misstep, Strand, Traverse, all dead cards, or Sweltering Suns, and he takes the Suns. Because it's a Wrath. He needs it. He can't not have it. So I pick up the Plains that I knew about, and here comes Edgar. He does not have counter magic up because he's got no blue mana. In we go. So I send them both at Chandra here. I need her dead, and because otherwise he has the chance of using Chandra plus Sweltering Suns to kill Edgar. So either of these are lethal on Chandra, so he doesn't chump block. If I wasn't presenting lethal on Chandra with both creatures, because of Edgar and shared animosity, he'd be able to chump block whichever is attacking Chandra. He'd lose Crown, but the following turn he'd be able to use Chandra plus Sweltering Suns to be able to clear my board. Like, let's say if I send Edgar here, Vampire at him, he chump blocks Edgar, then next turn he cashes in Chandra plus Sweltering Suns to kill Edgar. And I don't want that to be the case, so I need to send them both to Chandra so that she can't -3. He just lets her die. Kraum's worth more than that. And he cycles Sweltering Suns, which I think is correct. He does hit a land off it, which is like a basic land, which is awesome for him. So now his green spells are online. He's Sylvan Scries for an Ancient Tomb. And I'm confused by this. I figured he would get an island, but when he shows me Mox Diamond, it makes sense. This is probably his worst land in his deck at this point. He's at 10 life. He doesn't really want everyone to be using Ancient Tomb for 2 damage. So it's only a black land for him. So might as well discard that to the Mox Diamond. That said, I think you probably still get an island or a forest, because if you get Crucible online, you want to be able to replay the basic. So I don't know if this was correct, but it is his worst top deck of a land, I guess. I got Bloodseeker, which is pretty notable. I do have black mana, so I can cast that. And I'm going to, of course, deploy this pre-combat because Edgar puts tokens on all of my vampires, not just the ones attacking. So a laggy moment, and deploy that, get a vampire, go to combat, and keep going in. So now my vampire is able to trade with Kraum, and I believe he makes this trade here. Yep. Because otherwise he loses the game. And he does it instead of trumping Edgar, but sure enough, he is trapped under Blood Moon. He's got blue, blue, green, or blue, green, green, and tons of red mana. 6 cards in his hand. He doesn't show me, unfortunately. But this Blood Moon, I think, lost him this game. And absolutely brutal to see. Blood Moon might actually be a notable card in this deck, but the mana base is so greedy. You want to have 2 of each color on turn 3, so maybe it's not the right inclusion in this deck. I have added Tithe to this deck, though. So on to the last game that I've played so far against Sty. Not sure, quite sure. Win another dice roll. What a nuts thing. All right, jump a turn. There we go. So my opponent is playing Leovold, Emissary of Tress, and this is... what an interesting game. So, I keep my hand, I have Vernon Catacombs for the scrub land, so I have white mana, and I Thoughtseize away Ramunap Excavator. And the rest of his hand is Temple, Dismember, Capture, Windswept Heath, Island, and Nature's Lore. So I was debating between Excavator and Nature's Lore. Both of them are ramp, and if I had known what I was going to top deck next turn, I would have, of course, taken Nature's Lore. But hindsight's 2020, right? So I pick up Incinerate, which I would have loved. So Incinerate would have countered the Ramunap Excavator, and I would have taken the Nature's Lore, which would have been much better for my situation. But I wanted to just get a clock down here, so I play Gatekeeper without the kicker, and let him cast Nature's Lore, hold up Dismember. Alright, bye you. So I got Chain Lightning, more removal for Leovold. Alright, fine by me. I would have liked to be able to top deck land here and slam Contamination before Leovold comes down. But, unfortunately, I can't. Leovold down. Deathrite. In response to Deathrite, I'm going to kill Leovold. It hurts to give him the card, but I just need to make Leovold so prohibitively expensive that he can't do anything. So we go Stromkirk Captain here, because Deathrite would let him still cast through Contamination, and I wouldn't be able to keep Contamination fueled for very long. So he eats one of my lands, and Leovold comes back. Oh no, he captures, and then Leovold comes back. So we know about Dismember in his hand. So I Chain Lightning Leovold. I believe I will... yeah, so I'm baiting Counter Magic here, and he counters that. And that lets me put Skull Clamp into play and equip it to a Vampire. Now, even though I won't draw off Leovold if this dies, it lets me attack him with a Vampire and Gatekeeper, because they're both first strikers. So I would be able to kill Leovold in this attack now. And if he kills it during his turn, so he gets Crucible, so that hurts a lot, but oh well. So he blocks, and I'm off, and this is a misplay on my part. I know he has Dismember, so I'm offering him a 3-for-1 here. He can Dismember Stromkirk Captain, which will mean Gatekeeper dies in combat, and this dies to my Skull Clamp, and I don't draw because Leovold survives combat, and it's just a massive misplay on my part. What I should have done here was just play Contamination or Goldraw's Assassin. I probably would have played Contamination, but that it hurts, but that's what I did. The misplays are real sometimes. And I just totally forgot that he could point it at the Stromkirk, I think. So I keep the Contamination fueled, and I have the Assassin to keep it fueled as well. I draw another 1-drop, which is awesome. So I play Assassin, and instead of playing out Shadow Alley, I decide to pump Assassin. I need to get him online so that way I can kill Leovold when he hits level 4. I'm not really under any real clock, so I'm going to fuel it again. And now I'm going to make the same exact play a 1-drop, and pump Goldraz. So now I have 2 more turns of fuel for Contamination. Unless he has removal. And I actually get an attack in here. He's definitely not going to block with Deathrite. My opponent has Vision counting down. So I level up again, and now I'm going to sit on... Oop. So it's plausible that during... in response to Vision, I should have shot Deathrite. To make sure that he can't play any non-black sorceries or creatures, and I think that would have been correct. And sure enough, he's got a sorcery, but it is a black spell, so he would have been able to cast it anyway. He Inquisitions Bombardment out of my hand, which I find strange. I think I would have taken Anguish Unmaking if I was him. This is so much better than Goblin Bombardment, but I guess at 8 life, he's afraid of how that's going to turn out. He 3 visits off the mana from Lotus Cobra. I have to let that go, but I get Maven Fen, which is awesome here. So if he doesn't play Leovold, I can go Skull Clamping again. And I think this turn he just goes for Development. Dismember is gone. So he probes me. He knows my hand. He already knew it anyway. Leovold down. All right. So I Anguished on making Leovold. The damage from Crucible is done. So I'm just going to keep killing Leovold and making it as expensive as I possibly can. He's only at 7 life. So I top deck a land here, which is awesome. So this means I can equip Maven. And the reason I do this is because if I attack with Maven without Skull Clamping, he can Lotus Cobra block, they trade, and then I get a 1/1 that I then have to clamp to draw a card. This way, he can still trade. I can trade land or Lotus Cobra. They're effectively the same card to me at this point. Lotus Cobra produces more mana for him, so maybe that trade's incentivized. But this way I get to keep the 1/1 no matter what. Unless he wants to double trade. So this gives me, if he wants to block, it gives me a better upside. That said, I think he makes the correct call and doesn't even do it. He knows about Hell Rider, so he needs to destroy this Badlands as soon as possible. He's just dead if I top deck red mana here. Unfortunately, I do not top deck red mana. And Anvil would make me discard one of these cards. Unfortunately for him, I pick up Fire Covenant. So I get to shoot all of his board to give him a draw 3 with Fire Covenant, doming myself for 5. He flashes in Snapcaster after getting the draw, just so he has a blocker, because otherwise he's dead. I believe he's dead. And I pitch away Jitte, because Hellrider is still representing lethal. So he gets the actual blocker that he needs to survive, but I get a draw 2. And this whole game has just been about this draw 2. And I make a mistake here. So I clamp the non-lifelinker when I should have clamped this one, because they're different creatures, and you'll see how it plays out here. I play Isolated Chapel because I want to hide the fact that I can Cavern, name Devil, and drop Hellrider next turn uncounterably. And he has Maelstrom Pulse coming up on this Vampire, which I should have... Like, there's no way that I know he has Maelstrom Pulse, but it's a card that you would expect to see in Leovold, so it makes sense to diversify my tokens. The lifelink's not going to matter for me. He's at 1 life. When he's winning this game, he's just going to be winning this game. Pick up Armageddon, don't care about that. But I pitch Terminate from the Anvil because I have no red mana. I'd rather hold on to the Armageddon. I don't want to burn this Fatal Push because right now I'm planning on using it for fuel for Anvil. He blackmails me. And I show him Dismember, Fatal Push, and Armageddon, and he takes the Dismember because it's the one spell that can kill Leovold, which is correct. And then he tosses my Badlands. Or he tossed it last turn or something. Green Sun Zenith for 4, gets Oracle. Oh yeah, no, he tossed it this turn, I think. So he tossed Badlands last turn, tosses Scrubland this turn. And on end step, I decide to Fatal Push that just before we encounter an issue. Anvil, I find Grim Tutor, so I pitch the Armageddon because it's not going to win me this game. He's got Crucible. He 4 spikes Grim. I could have played around it by playing Cavern, but I still think Cavern is my best way to win this game. So now I'm playing Smoldering Marsh purely for the fact, because I would have Grim Tutored for Mountain, actually, and played Mountain. So that way he can't Cavern away red mana, and no matter what, I can Cavern into Hellrider next turn. But the reason that I'm playing that out there, even though I know it's going to be Dust Bowl, is because I want him spending mana. I want him to waste as much mana as possible trying to keep this Hellrider out of play, and he still doesn't know about this Cavern of Souls. He knows I have one unknown, and he knows Hellrider. So he's afraid of red mana, basically. He plays the Lore Broker that we had seen on the top, that we saw on the top, and boom, look at that. I top deck Vampire Hexmage into Falconroth Aristocrat, the best possible card I could draw here. So I keep the Hexmage because it's fuel for Skullclamp if somehow this line fails. I pitch the Hellrider, and he's probably worried when I'm throwing away a Hellrider, him at 1 life. I bet he's worried. Slam Cavern, naming Vampire, play Aristocrat. Before it's even exposed to potential kill spells, I get a 1/1 Vampire to sacrifice to it to give it Indestructible. It's a 4-power haste Indestructible. He can't block it, and that's the game. What an amazing game against Leovold. How many cards did I give him for this? I think I must have killed this. Let's see. 1, 2, no, yeah, 2, 3, 4 times I killed his Leovold, and it just pays off. I made it so prohibitively expensive because if he just gets Leovold plus a wheel, I'm in trouble. I'm in a hell of a lot of trouble. If he can reset his hand to something better and just mind twist whatever I've managed to scrape together away. And what a game. Aggro win on turn 15. Not something you usually see. But Aristocrat earns its stripes far and away. It is an incredibly powerful card in this Edgar Markov deck. Just because it's a flying haste indestructible attacker the turn that it comes down. And with Cavern of Souls, uncountable. And I mentioned in the chat to him that I've been sandbagging this for like 6 turns now to not expose it to this Dust Bowl. Because I knew my best way to win was through something uncounterable off Cavern of Souls. And sure enough, I draw the better haste than Hellrider. And what a game. What a game. So that is the leak so far. Keep your eye on my channel. I'll be posting the other 2 games once I play them in the next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Oh, wait. I promised to show you the deck right before I jump away. Don't stop yelling at your screen. I'll show the deck. All right, Edgar Markov. So this is a deck. I've added Tithe to the deck, and I've added Stoneforge Mystic. And I believe my cuts were something clunky in 2 and 3. I don't actually remember. I've also added Armageddon Ravages of War. I don't know if they're correct, but we're testing them out for the time being. Gifted Eighthborn, I'm sort of hit-miss on. I think it might need to be a cut. The more cards that I can cut with prohibitive mana costs, the better. So this might be worth cutting. I have the intent. I'm trying to play as many tutors as I can. Maybe I'll cut this for Gamble. That might be correct. But so far, the deck's really been enjoyable to play. And now, let me scroll down so you can see all the lands. There you go, Westerville Abbey down on the bottom. So now you've seen the entire deck. You pause the video, go back a couple seconds, pause the video, see the full thing. But this Fire Covenant is nuts. Such a good card. Very, very potent. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share my content to anyone you think might enjoy it. Let me know in the comments down below what misplays you think I made and what you would play differently. And if you want to support me on Patreon, you can pledge as little as $1 a month just to help me continue making content. There'll be a link on screen now to make that pledge, and you'll get access to the Patreon exclusive content as well. See you all in the next one.